On behalf of Department of Triply, I welcome you all for the AICT-sponsored online FDP on aspects and machine learning applications in smart grid. To begin this day orderly, let us first invoke the presence of Almighty, without whose guidance this program is just black and white. May I now request you all to rise to your feet for Tamil Taiwan. Now I request our head of the department, Dr. D. Kribakaran sir, to deliver the welcome address. So please.
Yes. Good morning and warm welcome to all. This year marks the completion of glorious 27 years of St. Joseph's group of institutions. And on this delightful day, I take great privilege, honor in welcoming you all to this informative event, AICT sponsored Atal FDP on aspects and machine learning applications in smart grid. First and foremost, I place on records my sincere thanks and gratitude to our beloved chairman, sir, Dr. B. Babu Manogaran, Managing Director, Madam, Mrs. Jesse Priya, Director, Sir, Mr. Shashi Sekhar, for their permission, guidance, and moral support to this event. I extend a warm welcome to our respected Principal, Sir, Dr. P. Ravichandran, who will always motivate and guide us for such a successful events in our campus. Welcome, sir. On behalf of all of us, I am delighted to offer the most generous welcome to our chief guest and one of the eminent Dr. Kanagavel's Additional Director and Head of Skill Development and Training Division, National Institute of Wind Energy, Chennai. We are delighted to have such an experienced dignitary with us today. My heartfelt thanks for accepting our invitation and welcome, sir. My hearty welcome to all the experts and my colleagues. I am pleased to welcome all the participants from various colleges all over the land. Without you, event will not be good. I welcome you all. Dr. Kanagavel sir received his bachelor in master's degree from Madurai University and the Free Institute of Technology. His our chief guest has more than 2 years of experience as a diamond private town. Sir received many awards. Highlights are 50 most influential 50 most influential sustainable India Sustainability Award conferred India Sustainability Summit and Award held on November 23rd, 2016 at Bombay. What we tasted is drop in a women profile ocean, rest in web. His gaze is present in this event with us in our pride. So the objective of this FP is enrich knowledge on the market and its associated data analysis. Hope will be fulfilled your expectation. At this moment, I appreciate for all the Dr. S. Ananda, Dr. C.T. Kavita, Mr. Cephas, and all other staff members for their effort. I sign out to thank all the to ACT for opportunity to us. Thanks and welcome once again.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, I would like to invite our beloved principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran sir, who has been a driving force for our department to give inaugural address for today's virtual meeting. So please. Sir,
Sir, you are muted, sir. You have to unmute.
Good morning, one and all present here. So, respected Chief Guest, Dr. P. Kanagavel, Director, National Institute of Wind Energy, HODs Dr. Kirbagaran and Dr. Hemalata, faculty coordinators, and my dear participants. On behalf of our St. Joseph Institute of Technology, headed by our Chairman, Dr. B. Bob Manogaran, our MD, Mrs. Jessie Priya, and Director, Mr. B. Sasi Segar, and my own behalf. We are very much grateful and thanks to AST for providing us an opportunity to our college to conduct 5 days online ATAL sponsored FDP on aspects and machine learning application in smart grid for our EEE department. It's a great pleasure to give an introduction about our college and our outline of 5 days online adult sponsored FDP. Our college was started in the year 2011 with 5 UG programs and has been best infrastructure including auditorium, conference halls, administrative blocks, classrooms, lab blocks, and hostel covering a total area of 11 lakh square feet. All departments are well equipped with all latest equipments and laboratories. With inception of our college, 2011, within 6 years, we got accreditation, 3 years for all our 5 departments from 2017, and we have got renewal 3 more years up to 2023. Our students are well trained in placement and training cell from first semester to 7th semester, and they are well placed in various organizations and top companies all over India and abroad. Last year, more than 256 companies visited to our campus for recruitment of our students, and more than 80% of the eligible students got placement. Our EEE department is having 3 societies under IEEE, IETE, and IST professional student chapters also available in our campus. During this pandemic time, our college organized more than 100 online webinars in the latest topics with the renowned international speakers from abroad, industrialists, and well-known professors from all over India for the benefit of the faculties and as well as students of all the professional colleges in India and abroad with free registration. Coming to the FDP, the main objective of this FDP is to provide the depth knowledge in the field of machine learning applications in smart grid and other applications, thereby creating pathway for research and technology. Machine learning and data analytics are now playing a more important role in the modern industrial streams. This FDP introduces machine learning and corresponding applications in smart grids. The application of machine learning in real smart grids, many issues such as techniques, awareness, and synergies are discussed in this FDP with renowned speakers. We have received very good response from the faculty and research scholars all over India and abroad. The total number of participants registered so far to more than 200, and we are planning to organize this 5 days FDP with 14 sessions are arranged for 5 days with well-known 12 speakers from great scientists, industrialists, and professors. My sincere thanks and gratitude to all dignitaries for giving us an opportunity to conduct 5 days ATAL-sponsored online FDP to our college. My sincere thanks to our chief guest for accepting our invitation. And once again, thanks to all participants. And I wish you all the best for your FDP. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on, I request all the attendees for this event to turn on your videos to have a cheerful and ritual photo session. Please kindly turn on your videos. Participants, please turn on your video so that we can have a virtual photo session. Participants, please turn on your videos. Participants, please kindly turn on your videos. We have one attendees who has turned on their videos.
So all the participants, please turn on your video. It's we have to submit it to be good memories to us. Kindly turn on. All of you kindly turn on your video.
So thank you. Here we go, and thank you. So I have just clicked on the print screen. Thank you so much. And now it's time to move forward with the first technical session of the event, for which I would invite our today's chief guest and the most eminent personality, Dr. P. Kanagavel sir, to deliver lecture on today's topic. So please.
Respected the principal, sir, and respected HOD, other professors who's coordinating this event, most valued participant of this virtual program. Very green good morning to all of you. I'm really very happy to be with you all for another 1 or 1.5 hours on this virtual platform. Even though this pandemic situation, we have a lot of restrictions, but still we are able to meet and discuss and learn many things thanks for the technology. And I thank the management and the HOD who has created the opportunity to meet you all on this platform. So, as I usually used to say, I'm really very happy to meet you all, the academic people, because we used to meet only the bureaucrats or ministry officials and the core professional who are working in the wind industry. So this is the very rare occasion we get to meet the young minds of academic people. So I'm very happy. So with this, a few words, I will, without wasting time, I will go into the presentation. Sir, thank you, sir, Principal, sir, for the opportunity. Nice seeing you, sir. I will go into my presentation. Dear participant, I hope I am audible. The presentation is visible.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
You are able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay. So once again, I welcome you all, and I thank the organizer for the opportunity. The first presentation is going to be a basic one, which gives you the foundation for the event topic, smart grid. Actually, why we are going for smart grid? What is the background? Nowadays, the smart grid are being talked about largely. So actually, my presentation I have structured in a way that it gives you the basic energy resources available and the energy conversion from the fossil fuel, how it is going to impact on the environment, and why we are going for renewable energy sources. And if you mix a renewable with the grid, with the conventional power, then why we need for grid, smart grid actually. So this is about my presentation. Maybe it may last for another 1 hour. So everybody know very well that energy is become very important for our life. Without energy, it's very difficult to do anything. So now we, with the help of energy, majorly electricity, we start leading a sophisticated life. Without energy, now we cannot even imagine even 5 minutes. So that much of importance has created. If you see, this is the energy resources available for us to convert one form of energy into different form of energy in whatever form which we need actually. The top one is called fossil fuel. We all very well know that fossil fuel is nothing but petroleum, natural gas, coal, and all. These resources is the major source now. So our energy demand, almost more than 70% of the energy demand is being met from the fossil fuel right now. Where it is coming? So it comes because of the photosynthesis of ancient plants. We have studied many years before the sedimentation happens and plant, trees, everything goes into the earth. After having a lot of chemical reaction, we are getting the fossil fuel. If you see the middle one, which we call it as renewable energy sources, nowadays everybody is talking about, which is nothing but wind, solar, biomass, and all. So these resources comes directly from the sun. In fact, all the resources, the major amount of energy resources, sun is the mother actually. This renewable energy sources directly comes. For example, you take solar. So when we get a sun radiation, we can place a solar PV, which can convert into electricity. So we can also use for thermal application. But you see the fossil fuel, it's also form of solar energy, but it takes millions of years to get formed. Not like the renewable energy comes directly. Like sun, solar, the wind is also form of solar energy due to 2 to 3% of the sun radiation falling on the earth, wind is created. So bioenergy, it's again also because of the sun we are getting bioenergy also. The bottom, we have non-solar energy related sources like tidal energy comes because of the gravitational force of moon, and nuclear energy because of the fission or fusion. We get heat which is used to convert different form of energy like electricity. So basically, these are the energy resources available for us to convert one form of energy into different forms, which a desired form of energy. The top one, whatever we have seen, like fossil fuel, we call it as non-sustainable energy sources. The renewable energy sources are called sustainable energy sources. Can any one of you help me? Why the fossil fuels are called non-sustainable? Any participant can come out and feel free. I don't want to make the presentation one-way direction. So now and then we can have small discussion. Any participant? You can feel free, no problem. See, the fossil fuels, even though it has a lot of negative impact while converting into electricity, the renewable energy sources can regain its status even after utilization. For example, you take wind. You can place wind turbine and extract whatever energy available in the wind. After a few seconds, a few minutes, it can regain status. Again, we can place one more wind turbine and start producing power. So it can regain even after utilization. So that's why we call the renewable energy sources are sustainable energy. It is not that the fossil fuel will not regain. It takes millions of years to get formed. So that's why, apart from a lot of pollution and negative impact, we call it non-sustainable energy sources. This picture tells you how we are exploiting our natural resources. If you consider this as Earth, some part of the Earth we make use for the production of energy. Some part of the Earth we make use for our own settlement, like housing, buildings for various purpose, for various kind. And some part of the Earth we make use for the paper production and timber activities. Remaining, we have not left use for our own food. In fact, each and every corner of the earth is being utilized by us to lead a sophisticated life. If you go back to the olden days, so we were living very happily with the help of natural resources available. But now, the modern technology development has given us a lot of the sophisticated, rich, quality life. But still, we are facing a lot of problem. Nowadays, plenty of things are being actually explored. If you go back to the olden days, we used our own physical energy to do anything. Later on, we started taking help of animals and fires to take care of our activities. And after some time, because of the intellectual development, we started coming up with a lot of innovation. We started identifying equipments, machineries to help us to complete the activities. So now you see, each and every activities, we have some kind of equipment, machineries, even small activities. So all the machineries runs with the help of some kind of fuel, like what we eat for our own food. So, which is nothing but electricity. All the machineries, equipment runs with the help of electricity. Nowadays, you see, you go to any rooms, any places, every walls will have switch. All equipments are available. Small activity nowadays, that is equipment. What we have to do is simply switch on. Everything will happen for us. So that kind of life we started leading, with exploiting all the natural resources. In fact, we can say we overexploit. There is a prediction which says the developed countries are the culprit for all the negative effect happening in the world. See the lifestyle difference between the developed and developing countries. For example, you take United States of America. Every one of us living in the developing countries would like to go there and settle. Some people are not willing to settle, at least like to visit. Why? What is not there in India, the developing countries? We wanted to go there and settle down. Because we feel they lead a very rich life. They lead a very sophisticated, quality life. That's why every one of us having a desire to go there. They lead such kind of quality, a rich life, taking all the natural resources. In fact, if you see energy consumption of developed countries, we used to have a measure, say, the per capita energy consumption. Anyone help me? What is per capita and what is the Indian per capita energy consumption? Dear participant, hope I am audible. Per capita energy consumption is nothing but in a year, one person, how much energy is coming. It is called per capita. In India, We say we are superpower country, we are going to rule, we are going to do this, that, and how. Our per capita energy consumption is about 1,000, 2,000 kilowatt per hour. If you see the developed countries like USA and other countries, they have more than 2,000, 2,500 kilowatt per hour. In fact, we are very fortunate people. If you compare with a lot of other developing countries, some countries they not even have a 200 or 100 kilowatt per hour. They have only in their cities, they have little power. Rural place, there is no power. So that much of the difference, life difference. The developed countries take all the natural resources and enjoy their life. That's why this prediction says every one of us living the earth would like to lead a similar life like developed countries. We need 4 more earths. Totally 5 earth. One earth will not be enough to satisfy everyone who wanted to lead a life like developed countries like USA and all. So we have to have 5 more. That much of resources we need if you want to continue a similar life like developed countries, enjoying the rich life. This is the energy consumption portal. I have data from 1965 onwards. If you see, as I told you, right now, the major amount of electricity we are meeting from the fossil fuel. And see, all this year, fossil fuel is the major source of electricity. Because of the increased awareness about the renewable energy sources, we started coming up with other sources, which we call it as renewable energy sources. This is about the global energy snake. As I told you, it's about 72% of the energy emitting, getting from the fossil fuel and nuclear. About 27% comes from renewable energy. This is the current data up to 2020, in fact, till 2019. So 27% from renewable. You can see among renewable, hydro is the major source. It's close to 16% comes from hydro out of 27%. Next to hydro, wind, which has about 6%, and other renewable sources. So having a large contribution from the fossil fuel is not at all good for our environment, which will not lead to a sustainable development. But let's see why which will not lead to a sustainable development. This is about Indian energy situation. So right now we have close to 370,000 megawatt installed from different sources. At par with the world, we are also having a large amount of contribution from the fossil fuel, majorly thermal waste power station. Renewable energy, close to 24%, hydro 12%, nuclear is just 2%. In fact, we can feel happy that renewable energy is having a good amount of contribution. 24, in fact, hydro also renewable energy. So put together more than 30% contribution from renewable energy. So it's a good, but still we need to increase the share of renewable energy sources. So we all very well know that if we produce electricity from the fossil fuel, convert electricity from the fossil fuel, CO2 is emitted into the atmosphere. Because of that, the global average temperature is increasing, which is nothing but global warming. So, global warming, nothing but average temperature, increase of average temperature around the world because of the man-made activities. So because of the temperature rise, we are seeing a lot of negative effect on the environment. What are the negative effect? Participant? Can we have an interactive session? So what are the negative effect because of the temperature rise due to energy production from the fossil fuel and other reasons? Okay, no problem. So these are the negative impact because of the energy production. The major cause is energy production from the fossil fuel. Let us prove my statement. Why the energy production from fossil fuel is causing for all this negative. The direct impact because of the energy production from fossil fuel is melting of ice glaciers. So normally we know generally in a year we have different season like winter, summer, and so on. During winter, because of the low temperature, ice glaciers will get formed. During summer, because of the increased temperature, it will melt. In fact, this is the perennial source for water in the river. So now what happened? Because of the temperature rise on continuous basis, the ice glaciers started melting on continuous basis. What will happen if continuous ice glacier is melting? Sea level is keep rising. Not only sea level rise, but a lot of biological impact, which is very, very important fact. I don't want to waste time on that. We'll time permits, we'll discuss the biological impact, the endangered animals, so many things that we are talking about. But the major is sea level rising. We very well know that about 1/3 of the earth is full of water. A lot of cities are close to the ocean. So the continuous rise of sea level, what will happen? Because of this effect, you see the changes in our climate. Nowadays, during rainy season, we are unable to get rain. During summer, the temperature goes up like anything. During winter, temperature going down like anything. In fact, the southern part of India normally does not experience big winter actually. If you go to the northern part of India, the temperature goes down like anything, which will be very difficult to survive. People like us moving from southern part. Nowadays, the temperature going beyond minus, which was not normal. Many places during this month, actually, generally, in fact, we have to thank COVID. Because of COVID, a lot of the restriction on the transportation road, now the sky is almost clear. Because all the previous years, last few decades, going to Delhi during this time, like December, January, and all, very difficult. Full of fog. The flight journey gets delayed like 10 hours, 15 hours, even one day. So that because of the fog. So that kind of change is happening. You see, every year the newspaper people will record everything, and after the event over, they'll produce. Last few years, decades, if you see, every summer, after summer, the newspaper says, this summer, the temperature has gone up to this much, which was not at all there for last 30 years. That kind of extreme rise is happening. It is not new that the temperature is going up and the temperature going down during winter, going up during summer. No, it happens. But now it is going beyond the limit, which was not seen last few years. The extreme changes are happening. Because of this effect, you see the impact on our own health. Nowadays, the scientists are coming up with new viruses, which is going to be very dangerous for life. If you go back to 10 years, start seeing from 10 years onwards, we came across chikungunya. Once affected 1 month, we have to suffer like anything. Then swine flu has come. After that, Ebola, then Zika. Now we are experiencing with COVID. For COVID-19, a lot of deliberation happens. Everybody comes up with their own fact. Some people are even saying it is like a bioweapon. But the scientists have predicted these kind of changes in the climate and other thing comes because of the energy production from the fossil fuel, which leads to the temperature rise. Because of temperature rise, we see all the negative. The statement, what I said, I can prove. See, this information I've taken from a source called co2now.org. So they record the CO2 activities and they produce report. So according to this resource, you see, close to 8 billion metric tons of CO2 is emitted because of the fossil fuel power plant and cement industry. The cement industry is, the contribution is very less compared to energy production from the fossil fuel. About 90% of the CO2 emission happens because of the fossil fuel power industry and cement industry. About just 12% because of the land use activities. So whatever CO2 emitted, where it is going, see the bottom one, close to 50% of the CO2 emitted is going to atmosphere. About 27% the CO2 is absorbed by the vegetation, and about 26% goes to the ocean. So about 50% of the CO2 is going to atmosphere, which leads to the temperature rise. Here I say energy production from the fossil fuel, CO2 is emitted because of CO2 emitted into atmosphere, temperature rising up. So anyone help me, please, how the CO2 going to atmosphere will increase the temperature rise. Any help from participant? Okay. So these are the country which emits CO2. In fact, country-based emission of CO2, China is number one, and we are also India. We are also the fourth largest emitter of green CO2 into atmosphere. This, I think many of you have been knowing. We have studied in our childhood, greenhouse effect. What is greenhouse effect? It is a natural process. It has to happen to maintain the equilibrium. What is greenhouse effect? We have a sun which emits radiation, which is falling on the surface of the earth as well as clouds. So normally, whatever radiation coming and hitting the surface, some radiation is absorbed. About 20 to 30% of the radiation is absorbed by the surface of the earth as well as the clouds. The remaining is reflected back to the atmosphere. So this is the natural process. It has to happen. So now, what happened? We are enhancing this effect because of the temperature keep rising. You're able to see this green layer, green belt. This is a form of greenhouse gases. This is a layer formed by greenhouse gases. What are the greenhouse gases? Any guess, participant? What are the greenhouse gases? Don't worry. So water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbon. So these are the greenhouse gases forming this layer. Now what happened? because of various activities, these gases like carbon dioxide because of the energy production from the fossil fuel, methane from agriculture activities, and all these gases are continuously emitted into atmosphere. Because of that, the continuous addition, this layer size is thickening. Continuous emission of greenhouse gases, this layer getting thickened. So because of, for example, it should be 100 mm. Because of continuous addition, it's becoming 200 mm, 300 mm, 400 mm. So because of the increased thickness of this layer, the radiation supposed to go back to the atmosphere is retained. So if you retain the radiation, what will happen? The temperature will increase. So I understand many of the participants or the faculty and some of the researcher. So this is the basic cause for the temperature rise. So we always say, because the fossil fuel industry, power plant industry is the cause for the temperature rise because of the energy production from fossil fuel, temperature rising up. Simply will say, so this is the cause. So we should understand this is a simple process by which the temperature rising up. And let's see what are the reason why the greenhouse gases are going to atmosphere and large way. We started doing a lot of deforestation activities because of the increased population, doing a lot of agriculture activities and landfill activities, emission coming out from the factories for various purpose, emission coming out from the fossil fuel power plant and also the transport sector. So because of these reasons, greenhouse gases are emitted largely to the atmosphere. So I can prove my statement. I said the energy production from the fossil fuel is the major cause for all the negative effect what we're seeing. That again I can prove. This graph I've taken from a source called Science News Blog. So according to this source, about 94% of the CO2 rise into atmosphere is because of the energy production from the fossil fuel. So that's why we say energy production is the from the fossil fuel is major cause. Because of that only, everybody started looking at different sources for production of energy. Because of that only, everybody is talking about like renewable energy sources, alternate energy sources, green energy sources, clean energy sources, and different terms are being used. Because of that only, we are now into smart grid. Otherwise, that term may not come. Smart grid now, further microgrid, mini grid, so many terms are being talked about because of the energy production from the fossil fuel is leading to the temperature rise. Because of that, a lot of negative effect on the environment. So this is a country-wise emission of greenhouse gases, and number one is again China, and unfortunately, we are also in the top 5 countries in terms of emitting greenhouse gases. And if we allow this, the temperature rise to happen, this phase, maybe after a few years, the temperature will go up like anything, which will not be feasible for us to lead our life in the earth. In fact, this information I have taken from a book called 6 Degree, Our Future on a Hotter Planet. According to this author, Mr. Mark, he says, I hope every one of you know about global average temperature. Any guess what is the global average temperature? Dear participant, please if feel free to interact with me. Uh, like we are going to study about the smart grid, we should be like a bi-direction. Smart grid is not a single direction, so bi-direction. So please start interacting. So if you have any clarification or if you need any clarification, please feel free. You can interrupt me at any time, and please start interacting so that the session can go well actually. Okay, no problem. The global average temperature is about 15 degrees Celsius. It keep fluctuating like everything. Sometimes it goes starts from 14 degree to 16 degree. Average is 14 to 16. This author, the book, what I said, the 6th degree or future on the hotter planet. So he has taken the global average temperature of the year 2012. So in 2012, the global average temperature was around 14.7 something. So we take it as for example, you take it as 15 degrees Celsius was the global average temperature in the year 2012. So he says from that level, if 1 degree Celsius temperature rises, we'll be facing this problem. So, for example, the temperature, global average temperature reaches to 16 degrees Celsius, we'll be having this. The ice-free seas absorb heat, we will be losing fresh water, the low-lying area will get flooded like anything. If 2 degrees Celsius rises, for example, reaches to 17 degrees Celsius, we will have a heat stroke. Lot of forest fire will happen. It is not that now we are not having forest fire. It is seen here and there and now and then. So if the temperature rises to 70 degrees Celsius rise, for example, the frequency of occurrences like the forest fire will be very more. So we will be start seeing a lot of forest fire. It will be very difficult because plants, trees are very, very important in our life. We'll come back. If 3 degrees Celsius rise, normally the plants absorb CO2 and emit oxygen. So instead of that, it will start doing an opposite way. It will start absorbing oxygen and emit CO2. What will do? Even for our own respiration, we need pure oxygen. It will be very difficult for respiration. In fact, nowadays, you know very well that every cities have a lot of problem of air pollution increasing like anything. Last few months, years, we are listening about air pollution in Delhi. Delhi is not a good place to live because of high air pollution. Not only Delhi, every city is having. Even Chennai also is having air pollution. But it is right now within the level. Many countries already they started doing against this air pollution. A lot of processes are happening, but still unable to control. That's why a lot of countries have started oxygen clubs. You have to get a membership, and after getting membership, you can go and enjoy the pure oxygen. If you get into the room, you'll have pure oxygen. Inhale, rejuvenate yourself, and come back. In fact, those who wanted to start a business, like you can think of this business of air. It is going to be a good business because nowadays every country's the air pollution problem is there. Every country is coming up with the oxygen club to provide pure oxygen. Right now, we are seeing the oxygen cylinder only at the hospital because of the patients at the treatment purpose. But this situation continues. We have to have carry like water bottle in our bag. We right now we carry only water bottle, so we have to have the oxygen in our or the like bag. In a worst case, like shampoo sachet, we have to have a oxygen sachet in our pocket always. Whenever we feel suffocated, we have to open and inhale and survive for some time. So that kind of things will happen. If we allow 4 degrees Celsius rise, we cannot stop the global warming. In fact, up to 4 degree, we can have a control to reduce the further rise of temperature. We can do any other mitigating activity or any other process by which we can start reducing the temperature up to 4 degree. The temperature reaches to 5 degree, that's the end. So we cannot do any mitigating activity. Once the temperature reaches to, for example, 20 degrees Celsius of global average temperature, we will lose our control to further reduce the temperature. 6 degree rise, for example, 20 degrees Celsius of global average global temperature will be end of our life. We cannot see the human on the earth. You see, this is the threat. That's why everybody is talking about global warming, climate change issue, renewable energy issue, alternate energy, clean, green energy sources, so many things. Last few decades. So because of this effect, already I told you, the sea level rising up. So we have observed that close to 50 mm global average sea level rise. There's an average sea level rise. Some places it is 200 mm, some places 300 mm. So it varies place to place, but the mean average sea level rise is about 50 mm. So this continues. So I already told you, 1/3 of the earth is full of water. You take India, it's about 3 sides we have seas. We have about 7,600 kilometer coastline. Many cities on the sea. But this happens, this continues. Maybe our future generation has to see many cities in the ocean. For example, you take Chennai. We have second longest beach in the world, Marina Beach, beautiful beach. Now people are coming and visiting. So maybe after few years, our future generation has to read in the history. There was a city called Chennai. It went into ocean on this particular year because of this effect. So that kind of extreme changes will happen. And because of this effect, you see close to 50,000 species. We are losing every year. Every 2 years, 1% of the species available is going to extinct. It's very, very dangerous one. So we cannot think this is small ant, this is a small bird, which is not going to contribute anyway in my life. No. Each and everything created on the earth is doing its own. For example, you know very well about the life cycle, food chain. Everybody depends on somebody. If you have a break in the food chain, it will be very difficult to deal with life. That's why every government is trying to come up with a lot of forest, thick forest concept is going on. See, now they are creating forest because earlier we used to destroy forest for our own sophisticated purpose, like making furniture and so many equipments. We used to cut. Now the government is forcing to create a forest everywhere. And they are giving a lot of power to the forest department. Why? What is there inside the forest? We have small animals, trees, plants. But still, they give important because we need to maintain the ecosystem. We need to maintain the food chain. That's why a lot of actors, I mean, like saving of endangered animal, we started celebrating at International Tiger Day. So many things are coming up because of that. So biological biodiversity is very big issue. So we need to take care of this. So because of you see, these are the threat in front of us. Because of that only, everybody started thinking about going for alternate energy source. The main thing is energy production from the fossil fuel is damaging our environment, which is because of emitting CO2 into atmosphere, which leads to the temperature rise because of the lot of damages. So to avoid that, now people started looking the alternate energy sources. Hello, where we can produce electricity without affecting the environment. So while searching the alternate energy sources, these are the objectives we need to keep in our mind. These are the criteria we have to follow. First foremost is we wanted to have a clean environment. Our objective or aim is to have a clean environment. And we have already habituated now without power we cannot survive for even 5 minutes. We'll be having so many opposition. Okay. No, I was planning for this, I was planned this thing, that thing. So 5 minutes power cut is not there. I am unable to survive. So that kind of things like see that much important are the power creator. So we need to have a uninterrupted continuous power supply. We have to identify a source which has huge potential. That's another thing. Then whatever source you identify and produce power, while producing power from that source should not emit any kind of greenhouse gases. So we have to identify a source which should have a huge potential, which should not emit any kind of greenhouse gases. That that source should support to the decentralization, like socioeconomic development. So we need to identify that kind of sources. That's how we came to know about renewable energy sources. In renewable, we have plenty of sources like wind, solar, hydro, biomass, geothermal, wave, tidal energy, and this one is OTEC, ocean thermal energy conversion. So these are the natural resources available. If you produce electricity from these sources, we can take care of our objective. Produce power from renewable energy sources, which will lead to a clean environment and which has huge potential. So it can give you a continuous, uninterrupted power supply. And if you produce electricity from the renewable sources, which will not emit any kind of greenhouse gases, and it is locally available, so it can support for the decentralization, and it is available everywhere, not like only in city, only not available in the rural. So it can support the rural development, including island electrification, and definitely this can support the socio-economic development. So that's why people started looking at renewable energy sources. Now, because of the increased awareness about the global warming, climate change, people are going with large installation in renewable energy. And renewable energy, in the year 2019 itself, we have a total installed capacity of about 2,558 gigawatts, sorry. So with that, China is number one, like having more than 400 gigawatt, And we can also feel proud that India is among top 5 countries in terms of the installed capacity in renewable energy. This is about Indian renewable energy potential. So we have huge potential. In fact, if you see the solar, already I told you, sun is the mother of almost all the energy resources available. So we have huge potential from solar. In fact, 1 square kilometer, we can go for about 50 megawatt. Imagine how much land is available. So once we start tapping the solar power, definitely this can support for the electrification of entire country, not only our Indian. Uh, the global electricity can be met from solar alone. That much potential is there. So next to solar, we have huge potential from wind. At 50-meter height, we can go for about 50,000 megawatt. At 80-meter height, we can go for about 1 lakh megawatt. At 100-meter height, about 3 lakh megawatt is possible. Recently, we have estimated in India itself about 700 gigawatt is possible from wind alone at a height of 120 meter. Right now, this is the install capacity. And next to wind and solar, we have some potential from biomass and small hydro. And if you see the bottom, these three sources like tidal wave, ocean energy, uh, ocean thermal energy conversion, and geothermal. Even though we have identified some potential, till now we have not commercially exploited. Why? Because uh, any sector to go forward, we need the technology. So right now we do not have a matured or advanced technology in these resources, and we don't have a trained manpower. So that is because of that we are unable to go into commercial exploitation. But the government of India is having a lot of demonstration projects, pilot projects are happening. So coming years, we will also have power plants in these resources, and in fact, the geothermal, Gujarat government is already working on it. Maybe a few years later, we will have a first geothermal power plant and at India at Gujarat. This is the renewable energy installed capacity in India. So right now, about 87,000 megawatt installed from renewable energy sources. Among renewable, number one is wind, having about 43 percentage for the installed capacity. So next to wind, solar, having highest installed capacity, then small hydro and all other sources. So right now the government, as sun is having good amount of potential, every government is trying to push solar. So in fact, if you go back to 5 years before, the installation was very less, not even 1%, and within very short period, the solar installation gone up to 40%. We expect a lot of installation to happen. So a lot of programs, schemes are created to tap the solar energy because it's available everywhere. So this is about renewable energy growth in India. So we are growing very steadily year on year. Very smooth growth is seen in renewable energy sector, and this is about India's position in different renewable energy technology. Overall renewable energy installed capacity, we are in fourth place, and solar PV photovoltaic. We are in fifth place. Solar CSP, concentrated solar power, we are in sixth place. Wind energy, we are in fourth place. So almost everywhere China is leading except in solar CSP, like Spain is number one. So nowadays, every country is going for actually energy transition. So every country is to fight against the global warming, climate change, coming up with the target. In that, many countries have already finalized fixed target, like 100% usage of renewable sources, 100% installation, 100% utilization of renewable energy. Like German, already they have fixed target for 2030. Next 10 years, they will have 100% renewable energy. Already they start closing down their thermal nuclear power plant. So they will be having only renewable energy uses for all their power demand. Same way, Sweden, Canada, they have a target for 2040, 100% renewable energy sources. India also having a target. So right now, our Indian government for the year 2022, they have an aim of 175 gigawatts for the year 2022. So this is the target. Among renewable, 100 gigawatt they are aiming from solar, 60 gigawatt from wind, 10 gigawatt from biomass, and 5 from small hydro. So this is the achievement. What another 2 years will be achieving this. And right now, 34 gigawatt out of 100 gigawatt from solar, and 37 gigawatt out of 60. And in fact, biomass and small hydro almost we are achieving. So we believe another 2 years will be achieving this. A lot of roadmap and many other activities are happening to achieve this target. And recently, our Prime Minister Modi ji has confidently announced that for the year 2030, India will have a 450 gigawatt of renewable energy installation, which means about 50%, 50 to 60% of the power demand will be made from the renewable energy. So after having this kind of target, so a lot of money flows might happen, a lot of job creation will be there, green color jobs, and this sector is going to grow like anything. In fact, this is going to be the future. So for the energy demand. So this picture tells you right now we are here like 2020. If you look back, all our energy demand were met initially from the fossil fuel, and because of the global warming climate issues, people started concentrating to include other alternate energy sources like renewable energy sources, and now almost 70 to 80% of the power is made from the fossil fuel. So maybe after 30 years, so we have to come to a position where we completely reduce electricity from fossil fuel and increase the electricity production from the renewable source. So apart from the energy production, parallelly, we need to concentrate on energy efficiency activities. This is again very, very important thing. Energy efficiency, saving of electricity is very, very essential things to do actually, because all these presentations said before, we learned that energy production from the fossil fuel, a lot of damages on the environment. One side, damages are on the environment. Other side, we look at, in fact, we are all very fortunate people to enjoy our life with all these facilities. At this point of time itself, many countries do not have electricity for all. In fact, nowadays, government says we have gone up to 100% electrification. Even remote rural village also, there's a grid and electrification happened. But many countries, only cities they have electricity. Rural place, they don't have electricity. They do not have access to electricity. I used to travel in many countries in like African. I had a chance of visiting the African countries like Tanzania and all. I traveled in remote rural places, some places, even for hospitals, they do not have a electricity supply. One side, people are wasting a lot of energy. Other side, people do not have access to electricity for even their own the emergency or the essential purposes. So because of these two things, we need to change our mindset and start saving electricity. Because this is the need of the hour. Because if you want to give a better future to our own future generation, kids and kids, our own children's, this is the time. So we have to change our minds. We have to start saving electricity. We waste a lot of electricity unknowingly or knowingly. At office, whether you are there in the room or not, your light, AC, fan is switched on. Home, you're watching TV or not, it is switched on. It has become a fashion for us to drive our own vehicle to office, a shopping mall, anywhere. This is the time for us to use it, the mass transportation like bus, train, which consume less and emit less. There are a lot of tips available in Google. If you Google up, you'll end up with plenty of tips. Like we used to say, the 0 watt bulb, which is not at all zero. It is about 8 to 9 or 11 watts. In many places we can save actually. As we don't have time, we can move on. But this is the time for us to change our mindset to save electricity for saving our motherland, earth, without having negative effect, and giving the electricity to everyone, those who are not having electricity access. So I humbly request all of you to kindly change your mindset to save electricity. And if you see the electricity consumption, I have data from 2015, 15, major amount of electricity. The consumption about 20,000 terawatt hour was the electricity consumption. Maybe another 30 years, it is going to double actually. So we'll be having the requirement of 40,000 terawatt hour. So where we are going to meet? So already right now, the major contribution comes from fossil fuel. In 2050, the fossil fuel, the generation will come down, and we'll be going with the alternate energy sources like renewable energy sources. Among renewable, wind is going to contribute in a big way, and solar and other sources. So we will be having a lot of new technology coming in and so many other things. So let's see. So right now, close to 75% of the generation comes from fossil fuel, about 25% from renewable energy. So another 30 years, the situation will completely be reversed. So we'll be having less than 15% from fossil fuel and non-renewable energy sources, and more than 80% comes from renewable, that wind and solar. So because of this only, now we are talking about the smart grid. All these years, we were having a steady power generation from the fossil fuel, the thermal nuclear based power plant, like thermal power plant. So today, if you plan, today I can deliver 1000 megawatt, definitely we can deliver because it is the source we have already. So steady power generation can happen. So now, because of the negative effect and the source are extincting, because the fossil fuels, everybody is coming up with their own prediction. Some people say it may last for another 100 years or 200 years or 250 years, but anyway, it is going to extinct. So source is not available continuously, and another thing, it is damaging. So now we are going with renewable energy to mitigate our alternate energy sources. We are going for so renewable energy sources are natural resources. It is informed in nature. For example, you take wind. Now, the wind speed may be about 20 meters per second, after some time 15 meters per second, after some time 5 meters per second, sometimes zero, sometimes goes during a cyclone time, the wind speed goes beyond even 50 meter, 100 meter also. So it's natural sources, it's variable source, it's informed nature. So mixing this with the grid, we are going to have a lot of difficulties. So that's why now people going for smart grid technology. How we are going to manage the grid. Uh, this is the wind energy growth. This is Indian energy growth. Both are almost having a very smooth, steady growth, and it's good. So, in fact, this is the first wind turbine installed in India during 2000. Sorry, 1980s. It was very, very small capacity of 55 kilowatt. So now the capacity have increased, and India itself, one single wind turbine can go for about 3,000 kilowatt. But in the world, we have higher capacity, 10 megawatt, even 12 megawatt also recently came in. A lot of research happening, which will bring the technology at bigger level. So we can also go for hybrid system. We can combine wind, solar, and so many other sources can be combined. And let's see. So that's why we are looking for smart grid factor. And we mix the conventional power and the renewable power, there will be a lot of difficulties managing the grid. So, smart grid basically to provide it's very essential to provide easy integration and renewable, the reliable service to the consumer. It's actually we can achieve to have digital automation technology, basically to monitor, control, and analyze within the supply chain. So I hope you will have a lot of discussion, deliberation about the smart grid coming 5 days. So without spending a lot of time on this, let's stop here. And if you have any questions, please feel free. Sir, can we stop or shall I continue for some time?
Sir, yes, sir. We can stop, sir. Actually, there is another session at 10:45.
Okay. And I'm really thank you all for the patient hearing, and thanks to the management and Dr. Kriboran sir for giving me the opportunity. In fact, as you all from academic people, this is my institute where I come from, National Institute of Wind Energy, located in Chennai. We do a lot of R&D. We are doing wind resource assessment, testing, certification, and even training also. So as a National Institute, we have a lot of facilities for the academic people to use. These are some of the facilities which we can make use for the doing research, and we support the internship project, student project. We also support, encourage industrial visit, and even we have wind research, wind turbine, where you want to conduct research. We are happy, and we can also support you financially and technically. If you have any good idea, you can propose. So that is also possible. And whatever software you call it for wind, we have actually. So recently we also started doing a solar resource. So we have published Wind Atlas and Solar Atlas, which can support the development of wind and solar sector. So with this, let us all join our hands together to create save the only motherland Earth. So thank you once again, the participant and the organization. So if you have any questions or clarification, you can feel free. And if not now, this is my email. So you can shoot your question anytime. So I will be very happy to answer.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can ask.
So there is no question. I thank once again, and please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, on behalf of our management, principal, or HODs, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks, sir. We are very much delighted by your knowledge and presence, sir. And I'm sure the participants would have been highly benefited. Thank you once again for accepting our invitation and delivering to it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Participants, please fill the feedback link and please stay online. We'll be starting the next session at 10:45, that is in another 10 minutes. Thank you.